Pictures are really common in your exam. You got different types of pictures of different things, sometimes life cycles, sometimes pictures of objects and so on. Now, life cycles, objects with a lot of leveling are easier to describe because you have a lot of information on the picture, a lot of written information on the picture. And as we use our template by just including those words, it becomes easier. But what if you have a picture which has nothing written over it and you have to describe? Sometimes you do get those kind of pictures as well. What do you do in such situation? Just like in any other condition, you start with the title, but this time you'll have to make up a title yourself. You'll have to imagine what could be the title here. After that, simply start discussing or describing what you see on the picture, and while doing that, try to follow a pattern, a fixed order. For example, maybe from the left to the middle to the right, or maybe from the top to the middle to the bottom, or maybe from the foreground to the background, and so on. In my case, I use the pattern of foreground to background. And what I do is I talk about two things that I see on the foreground and one thing that I can see in the background. And this is just one of the several possible ways, but I only use this way so that I don't have to think much in the exam. So how do we implement this practically? Let's have a look. So you can see we have an image here which simply has a house, and that's it. There is nothing much going on in this image. So how do we describe something like this? As I said, look at the foreground, try to pick two things. Look at the background, try to pick one thing, and then go from foreground to background. That's it. Just discuss or describe what you see in the foreground, what you see in the background, and you'll be able to speak for long enough. So let's do it. The given diagram shows a house located in the middle of the mountains. On the foreground of this image, we can just see one house. This house has several white windows, and the house itself has dark blue or dark green color. And we cannot see anything else around it. On the background of the image, we can simply see snowy mountains. Overall, this picture shows a house located in the middle of the snowy mountains. So you could see that I didn't try to think much, and most of the things I said were just the things that we could see in the picture. You can also imagine in some cases when you want to add the content, especially when you feel like you have not spoken for long enough. You check the timer and it was only, let's say, 15 seconds and you want to add something. You can imagine. So you can say something like, people living in this house must find it quite unusual as people usually like to live in societies. Something like this. So this is just a made up example. I mean, anything that comes in your mind, you can say that. You can even say that this is a beautiful house, but I wonder how would people reach different places from this house. Or you can also say that it must be really cold living in this house because it's in the middle of these snowy mountains. You can imagine in case of pictures because there is nothing like absolute truth in such cases. So this is the end of solved examples for describe image. At the end, the only thing I want to tell you is describe image is only about describing what you see and not about what the image actually means, because you simply do not have enough time to do that. And if you try that, you might actually fumble and lose the score. All the best.